You're listening to the Savoir Faire audio experience.
Are you ready?
The Savoir Faire experience is your guide to everything that has to do with lifestyle. From dating, rides, style, and entertainment. All brought to you by the editor of Savoir Faire magazine, Robert White. Anything goes on this audio experience. So, let's go.
It's still the best.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Savoir Faire audio experience. Today, we have another awesome podcast episode for you, and obviously an excellent interview for us. Today, we're meeting with Chad Jensen, who is the lead vocalist for a band called Bridge the Gap. What's going on, Chad? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting ready to finish out the holidays.
Yeah, we're 2 days away from Christmas, everybody. Everyone's got to get their last minute shopping done, make some food, get ready to chill with family, positive or negative. It's gonna be it's gonna be a challenging time for everybody. So, Chad, I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about you guys. I know you guys are kind of hang out in the category of punk music, and that's one of my favorite categories of music in general, which is really why I was like, yeah, let's go. I want to talk to these guys. But I was able to check out some of your stuff, your website, your YouTube video that you guys just released for the new single. So I just have a lot of cool questions, but I think you guys come from pretty unique backgrounds. So I'm really kind of cool to just to dive into a little bit about who you are and kind of what got you into music, and some of your backstory would be cool.
Yeah, dude. So first of all, great to talk to you. The Cliff Notes history of Bridge the Gap is we're all from a small-ish southern Utah town that's right on the border of Nevada, Utah, and Arizona. It's called St. George. We're about an hour north of Vegas. And so growing up as kids, we were all in the same band, and out of high school and, early college years, we pushed that band really hard, played on Warped Tour a couple times, went at it. And then about 2005, early 06, we just called it a day, hung up the cleats, so to speak, and went our separate ways. We ended up starting families, build on our individual careers. And myself as kind of the primary songwriter guy, over the years, I never stopped writing songs. And kind of a common story, when the pandemic hit, I'm like, shit, dude, I'm stuck at home. I'm like, I got all these songs. I'm going to learn how to home demo just for fun. I'm going to buy some recording gear. I'm going to figure out how to do it. And then I'll send it to my friends, and, it'll be just fun. It'll be like a little art project. Yeah. So that's what I did. And of course, the guys I'm sending the music to as I'm recording them are the dudes from my band, Right. And then pretty soon, Jeff, our guitar player, he's like, hey, dude, I'm going to come out because we live in different states, and we end up getting together, and one of us in Colorado, one of us in Utah, and we end up writing a song together and then demoing a couple more. And he's like, yo, we should do something with these songs, dude. These are good. And I'm like, yeah, like what? He's like, well, we're not broke ass punk rockers anymore. We're not broke ass teenagers. We could do whatever we want. And he's like, if you could go anywhere to record these just for shits and gigs, where would you go? And I'm like, Blasting Room, Bill Stevenson. And next thing I knew, we part ways. We have the weekend. It's over. I don't know, dude. It was not long, maybe 2 weeks later, I'm getting copied on an email with Bill and Jeff. And Jeff had reached out to him, and he had sent him the demos. And long story short, Bill's like, yeah, I would love to work with you guys on these and produce it. And so we ended up booking time to go to the Blasting Room on our first record, Secret Combinations. And that's kind of where it all started. And, kind of the backstory of Bridge the Gap.
Yeah, that's cool. So that was in 2005, you said? Or no, the pandemic brought you guys together.
Brought us back together.
Back together.
Say, yeah.
Okay, cool. So how many original members? There's 4 of you guys? Or were you kind of the lead guitar, drummer, and then, vocalist? Okay. All right, makes sense.
Yeah, basic kind of 4-piece punk band. 4 of us, myself, Jeff on guitar, Ryan on drums, and Sean on bass.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so the beginning story is kind of unique. So you guys all grew up in a small town together and just kind of all learned instruments at the same time? Did you guys all suck at what you're playing? And was it every other garage band that was just trying to make it?
basically, dude, basically.
Yeah.
There's stories within those stories. I mean, it's not like we're all in the same 8th grade class or anything. We all just kind of came from the same scene.
Yeah.
And we're all kind of separated a little bit by age. Like, Jeff's maybe 2 years older than Sean. Sean's a year older than I am. And then Ryan's a couple years younger than I am. And so, but we just were all in the same kind of music scene. That our band back then was kind of the main band championing the scene, I guess, for lack of a better term. We were called Unfold. And Jeff was playing in another band. And I always looked up to him, long story short. And I'm like, hey, dude, come play in my band.
Right.
And then that's when we kind of got off to the races back then. But yeah, we have a lot of history.
That's cool. Did you say you played at Warped Tour? Did I hear you say that?
Yeah. Our old band Unfold, we got to play a couple dates, not the whole tour, a couple dates in 01 and 02. We're old, dude.
That's all good, man. It's for the love of the music, and that's what I appreciate too. So I'm not a spring chicken either, but I have a little music background myself. So I mean, I love like just connecting and realizing the guys are still out there doing it and making music, and like grunge, punk, all that kind of stuff is like in my my forte. Like that's the music I'm listening to, and I just want to check out from the world. So like,
yeah,
meeting you and other handful of other bands from having this publication and doing this stuff is like super legit for me, because I'm hearing about all this uniqueness, and I like the deeper little stories that kind of come along with everything. For example, like obviously having a punk band, getting together, kind of reconnecting after years and years, life changes a little bit more. Where do you guys find like you said you were one of the main writers, but where does the visionary for the band come from? Like, where did Bridge the Gap come from? The name, where's the music, the writing? Like, what's kind of the whole vibe of the group?
Well, it's hard to talk about this without sounding like, guy tooting his own horn. So I guess I'll have to indulge.
You're going to have to sound like the guy's tooting his own horn, because I'm interested.
ask for your forgiveness and indulgence, but I mean, I'm not going to go too far. But, really it went from a Chad art project with my songs, okay, to a band thing, where the cool thing about being in a band is, a lot of bands will have that one or two primary creative songwriter guys or whatever. But then when you come together as a band, like in our case, I'll have a song, but like as soon as I start hashing it out with our drummer Ryan, or with Jeff, or even with Sean, once we start kind of getting in and learning the song together as a band, then their ideas come up of like arrangement, suggestions. Oh, this would be a cooler transition into the bridge, or, little things like that. And that collaborative approach is one of the most, for me, fulfilling aspects of being a songwriter. Is, I have to get these things out. They just come out of me, the songs and different things. But like what really seeing the way they come to life, I guess is a better way to start, is band kind of putting the stamp on it. Now it's a Bridge the Gap song. It's not just a Chad Jensen demo. And then, an additional level, which has been really fun for Bridge the Gap, is then going to the blasting room and working with a guy like Bill Stevenson and his entire crew there, which is just a ridiculously talented and knowledgeable group, who then take and do that same thing on kind of a little bit higher level, and especially Bill with, as far as making the songs even better. Not so much by like arrangement suggestions. I mean, in the 2 albums we've done with Bill, so 28 songs, I think maybe 3 of them he had an arrangement suggestion. What he brings to the table is just like making them cooler, specifically with the vocals, harmonies, really thick, strong backup vocals, a lot of woes, a lot of oohs and ahs, and that kind of thing. That just adds a lot of depth and girth to the music. And it's all creative. Like I would say, honestly, 90% of like the harmonies and backup ideas that people will hear on any of our songs so far come out of Bill's brain. So that's then working with the producer, and his thing is like, hey, while you're here, I'm not asking to be like dictator. I just want to be my voice. I want to be a 1/5 member of the band just while you're here. And so I might have a suggestion and an idea, and if you guys don't like it and I'm voted down, then that's the way it goes. I just want an equal voice in the band while you're here. And so he almost, while you're there a month hanging out, you become a 5-piece. And when you come out of it in the music and the final product, oh boy, it's very much worth it. But so it's primarily my influences. My favorite band in the world is Bad Religion. Like I'm just one of those guys.
Nice.
And so my perspective, I would guess, is probably unique because we're all individuals. I'm not singing necessarily about the same perhaps worldview, and my life experiences and the stuff I've struggled with that inspires me to create and write is different. So I guess that's where the unique, whatever is unique about Bridge the Gap, that's where it comes from. And the name, dude, I just thought it sounded cool, and I like it that it means. I like what it implies. You're overcoming the obstacle. You're bridging the gap. You're finding a way. You're making a way, and that really is kind of an ethos that as individuals in our band, all 4 of us, it kind of defines us.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I like the story. I like the whole story there too, and it's cool you guys are kind of working with Bill Stevenson too, because that's a legendary punk boy right there. Like, and making him kind of the fifth element, that makes it's almost like you have to do it. Like if I'm in business, then I get in a room with 3 other guys that I'm partnered with, and then Richard Bronson comes in and says, "Yo, I want to be the 5th guy." I'm like, yeah, whatever you say, let's do it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
that's
you're
right.
cool. You're in the team, bro. No problem. So, no, that's cool. And it's cool that you guys are getting that elevated kind of experience from him too, obviously with his background and whatever, to kind of really kind of push things up to another level, which is cool. I mean, but the music sounds incredible, man. I was listening to you guys quite a bit today, kind of taking in some of the lyrical stuff here that you guys are putting out, and like seeing the old school kind of style that you guys still have. And that's the part that I kind of appreciate about that. So are you guys traveling in 2025 or doing anything on the road?
We plan to. Now, this is kind of one of the unique aspects of Bridge the Gap is we're all dads. We all have careers that pay our bills. We don't do Bridge the Gap to make a buck.
Okay.
We do Bridge the Gap to I'm going somewhere with this, but we do it for fun. And part of for us, the definition of it staying fun is balancing with our lives, our families, our jobs and careers and whatnot. And so for us, unfortunately, one of the sacrifices is we're not going to be one of those bands going out playing 120 dates in a year. Right. And in fact, that will never happen. And that's not to be, I'm not trying to be a pessimist or make anyone bummed out on our band. We try to get, when people say, hey, come play here, we're going to try to get there. But it's just, we have to be very, what's a good word for it? We got to be good planners. And so we got to go, okay, let's look when our record's coming out in the spring. Gainsayer is what it's called. We're going to be playing some shows in April, May, a lot of regional stuff around like the Rockies in the Southwest. Then we'll go and do some stuff in California. And maybe at some point in the, if the opportunities arise, because, this isn't one of those things, Robert, where someone comes down from on high and tries to just like show you the way and give you a ride somewhere. You have to, as a band, you have to kind of figure it out. And the way most bands figure it out is they grind it out. They go out on the road and they figure it out till one opportunity leads to another. And then they get kind of a break when it comes to booking is what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And booking's a whole different nut to crack. Like back in the day when we were kids, it was like the dream. We would just jump in the van and go. But the dream was, if we could just get signed to a label that, and in our minds we're thinking they would do all this for us. But in reality, that's actually not true. Yeah, they make connections with booking agencies and stuff. But in today's day and age, there's multiple levels of gatekeeping. You have the label side of gatekeeping and tastemaking. And then even if you score on one of those sides, all right, and we've been fortunate to have some great label associations so far. But then you also have to like find an in with one of the bigger booking agencies, unless you want to just like go out there and play to 25 people. And trust me, because you don't know. Punk rock is still punk rock, right? It's not like we're not playing emo core. We're not doing any of the like super popular kind of genre stuff. Right. And so we, if we ever get here, let me wind this down. If we ever get an opportunity to work with maybe a bigger booking agency that could put some tours together for us where we could be strategic, go to Canada, go to Europe, we would like to do that at some point. But for now, we're keeping it regional in the West, basically west of the Mississippi for 2025. And then maybe there'll be some stuff that comes up down the road.
Understandable, man. And I can respect that too. I mean, there's always a different way to be a band, be in music. I mean, I know people that are putting their music out on TikTok every day and they never leave their house, right? Like they're not performing. They're not with a label. They're not releasing albums. They're just sitting there with a guitar, putting out a 3-minute song, and that's their whole world. And then obviously, like, you know, you guys have a priority. Like it's your families. You're not all in the same location like you were when you were younger. So it makes sense that there's a lot of logistical things that have to be organized to go on a tour. Man, I hope that would, you know, lightning would strike and you guys would get some kind of cool opportunity to be able to, you know, do that obviously and still be able to, you know, take care of family. But the hard part about being an artist in general, and I know from experience too, is that, you know, it takes a long time before your art income can match what you're making at your regular job. And that's the smart thing to do, is just, you know, keep the family alive at that point, keep food on the table until the music can actually do something for you. And then when it does, then you have some things to think about, right? Then it's another family discussion. But no, I respect that highly, man. And the idea that you guys are getting together to put out some videos and putting music out, that's plenty for most people at this day and age with the music scene. And then, like you said, you got some good affiliations going on. So that's pretty positive. Well, I definitely want to talk about In the Throes, which is like your guys' new single. It's available on YouTube, the music video, but I'm sure it's all over the place on the internet right now for people to listen and download. But dive into this track for me real quick and just give me some ideas of like the creative aspects of writing this, how the whole storyline came about, putting the music video together, all the little logistical things that you guys have to go through.
Yeah. So, you know, it's for me almost, you know, the majority of my songs when I write, I've got a guitar in my hand. I'm not trying to write something. I'm watching a football game. I'm listening to my daughter tell me something about her day or whatever. So I'm more focused on something else. The guitar's in my hand and I'm noodling while I'm listening. And I'm actually listening to them. You know, I'm not like guy at the guitar disinterested in what they're saying. I'm noodling. And then at some point my subconscious goes, hey, whatever you just played, that was rad. And so as soon as, you know, whether it's just me in a room watching football or something, or my daughter leaves the room, then I'm turning my full focus to what that was. And I'm going, what was that? Oh, yeah. And then as soon as I have the riff, then it's on. I will not stop. I will not put that thing down till the song is done. You know, as far as the musical structure, right? And that's basically how it went with In the Throes, is that opening riff, same thing, dude. In fact, I kind of remember it that my wife had come down to my office where I work, and, you know, I have a little rig set up in my office, so I'll take little breaks from work and I'll jam out and shit. And she came down and she was telling me something, and I had this guitar in my hand, and exactly that. A riff comes out, she leaves, boom, In the Throes. And, you know, I had it done probably in like an hour. And then for me, sometimes like halfway, you know, sometimes as I'm jamming these songs out, because I don't know how to read music, and I never took lessons. And so the way my brain remembers and memorizes these songs I write is repetition. I'll play them, and times once I've written them to where they just stay locked in the old noggin. And so sometimes while I'm doing that, bro, the vocal melody will come to me. And that's something that's always been really important to me as a songwriter, even since I was a kid, was the vocal melody has to be compelling. It has to be really interesting. And so a lot of times it'll just come to me. Other times I'll have to literally, bro, demo it, get it all on tape without vocals, get it in my car and listen to it when I'm driving around running errands and doing shit, and then hum to it. Things will come to me. And that's how it took place with In the Throes. And the main like lyrical content is, you know, people overcoming, battling their inner demons, losing, getting back up off the mat, going toe to toe again. Maybe you fall down a couple more times, but it's finding that resolve to not give up the ghost. You know, there's that line, I'm in the throes of giving up the ghost. And that's kind of that's kind of that panic when you realize what's happening. You're going, oh my gosh, I'm losing this thing. And then as you matriculate through the song, you realize like, you know, no, I gotta recheck my mindset. There's a path through this. I can find a way. And so it might seem like a downer at first, but I hope people get that it's hopefully more of an inspiring message that you can find your way through it.
That's cool, man. And I always like talking to the artist about their perspective on the music that they write, because obviously you write a song that means something to you, you put it out into the world, everyone else interprets it slightly different. And I feel like I picked up on the same vibe that you're talking about. Like I got the message, which is awesome. So I was listening to the lyrics and stuff a little bit today and kind of picking on that, like just kind of listening to figure out the vibe. And that's what I picked up as well. Exactly what you said. So I do like that, that one line you mentioned too about, you know, the being in the throes, coming out of the throes. That was kind of a turning moment. Yeah, that's exactly what I picked up on. So that's cool. I'm glad that I was kind of in tune with that. But I like your writing style too, because it's also something that's very similar to mine. Brief story. Cool. I've been a songwriter performer since I was 16 years old. I'm 45 now. So I've been doing.
We're the same age.
Yeah, man. I've been doing the magazine and all that stuff for like the last 13 years, and I work in the entertainment industry still. But when I first started, that was my thing. Like I would just grab my guitar and with my kids around, TV on, God knows what, just strum around until something hit. Yep. And once it hits, you're like, okay, I'll be in my office. And you just
right,
go,
dude.
You run to the office where it's pitch quiet and you just do it. And I'm like you, I'm humming to it. I'm trying to find the lyrical thing. And then a word comes out, like any single word will come from the hum, and then the pen to paper, and that's it. And a couple hours later, there's a song. And that's what I love about that and that kind of cool writing thing. I mean, sometimes I have to fight, and you have the benefit of a band. I'm a solo guy. But like, sometimes I have to fight for those lyrics, and you have to like, hey, like this is where I'm at. What do you think about this? I mean, I lean on a lot of other songwriters and stuff too, but if you do that in my world, then you got to give them a piece of the pie, because now they're collaborators. And I'm like, wow, I got to struggle, man. I'd rather ask AI than another songwriter on this one. Like, you know, figure out the brain gap here. But no, that's pretty solid, man. I love the music. It's very cool. I want people to go check it out. It's the website you guys have is bridgethegappunk.com. You're also on social media too, right? Facebook, Instagram, all the good stuff. Okay, sweet. Yep. Oh, yeah. And then on YouTube is where I discovered the music video, Bridge the Gap in the Throes. Looks like it was put out by Double Helix Records. Is that one of the agencies you guys are working with?
Yeah, so in America, our new album in North America is on Double Helix Records, and they've kind of been the big orchestrator of how our record's rolling out. In Europe, it's going to be on Spam Records, and in Australia, it's on P Records. But the main, tip of the spear, we'll say, is Double Helix Records out of Tempe, Arizona.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so people need to go check that out, and we'll have a link to the music video in our article so we can get as many clicks on that bad boy as we can for you guys. So, I mean, yeah, I'm really glad we were able to connect, man. I like the storyline and the backstory of the band, and the music is solid. So whatever you're doing, keep it up. And, to all the dads out there creating music, keep the grind alive. So I can appreciate that for sure. Yeah, no problem, man. So, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good holiday. And, we'll get that article out shortly and send some information your way.
You too, Robert. Fun conversation, buddy. Thanks, and happy holidays.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the show. Please take a minute to head over to www.savfair.com and subscribe to our publication.